All right, guys, what's up? I have a fantastic guest today. He is Ari Tulla. He is the CEO and co-founder of a company called Elo, and it's a company that uses key biomarkers and cutting-edge AI technology to provide you with customized supplement packets. And prior to that, he was the CEO of Quest Analytics. Guys, if you don't know what Quest Analytics are, they're the market leader in Dr. Data and network management. I mean, all the blood work. I used them several times. And so I'm so extremely grateful to have Ari on the show. Ari, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, awesome. I was just curious before, anytime I interview guests, I always want to know kind of like how you got here, right? And you're from Finland, correct?
Yeah, I'm from Finland, and it's been a long way to get from, and not even from like Helsinki that people might have heard about, but I'm from northern Finland, small town called Kempele, and almost at the Arctic Circle. Think about like Anchorage, Alaska. This time of year, they get, I don't know, 6, 7 hours of sunlight a day. So escaping
Wow.
the darkness into the sun of California over the last many years.
Yeah, lucky. That's great. I mean, what a beautiful place to be. We were just talking offline. I just moved from there, and I went back recently and visited California. And I'm like, oh, I had it. From always. I was born and raised there, and from coming back, I was like, man, it's so beautiful there. No wonder people pay. They pay the sunshine tax. I joke to be there. So it is beautiful. I'm curious. How'd you get started with Quest, and then later and then talk about kind of like when did you realize, like, you know what, there's another problem that needs to be solved, and you realized that, and that led you to creating Elo.
Yeah, it's a good question, and I always love to talking about the why, because we often talk about the what, and you can go to LinkedIn and you can read on the interwebs, but often people don't talk about the why people do what they do, and that's often more interesting. So my story is pretty long. I'm gonna bore everybody with the long version, but quickly.
Please, I love
So
this.
I'm a technologist by trade, and I was working and playing video games for my youth, and it became a profession for me for a long time. So I was building games. I was not really a good developer or coder, but I was able to kind of be able to help create many of the first mobile games that some people might have played on Nokia devices, for example, back in the days. And then about 20 years ago, so my wife had a health issue. She had a thyroid tumor, and that led into autoimmune diseases, complications that are unknown unknowns that we don't know what to do about. And it took us 10 years to find a way to get pregnant because it was difficult because of these conditions. And we realized that the medicine for us was food. So with the right nutrition, we were able to lower inflammation, basically heal the body or let the body heal itself. There was no pill that you could have for the condition. So I became a massive believer on this idea of food is medicine. And we also had other health problems, and we had our fight against the US healthcare system. We moved to US 15 years ago while we were battling with these different things. And it was really difficult to find the right provider. So the first company I started 12 years ago in healthcare realm was called Better Doctor. And that was all about helping people find a doctor. And it was really hard for us. And, I had a perspective because, we came from outside where in Europe, for example, you don't really have a million doctors to pick from. You get what you get, and you get care, and you don't pay anything. So instead, in the US, when I had like a gold-plated plan, you can go to any doctor you want for free. But who do you go to? We talked to 50 different people and couldn't find the right care.
Yeah.
So I wanted to build a system that takes all the data into the web, and how do you buy a car, or how do you buy, or how do you book a room in a hotel, or how do you pick a restaurant? Like we have more data about everything, except we know nothing about the doctors, which is so that became a company that I sold later to private equity, and then later led company called Quest Analytics. So it was interesting story in a way that I started with my problem or my family problem, and today the company is helping 200 million people to navigate healthcare better. So big impact, and I'm really proud about the fact that you're able to build something that has value for many people. And today with Elo, we are trying to kind of do a bit of the same thing. So the Better Doctor was all about transparency. How do we make it more easy to find the right care? And now I think we have even a bigger problem in nutrition. Like, how do we make people to find the right food or the right supplements, the right protein powder, whatnot? It's really confusing. And most of us are doing things every day, and we have no idea if these are the right things or the wrong things. So we are trying to build transparency and measurability, because in the end, if you can measure something, you can improve it. And that's what we are trying to bring into the nutrition space at Elo.
Yeah, that's fantastic stuff. I'm curious. You said something beautifully, that food is medicine. I'm curious, when you were getting yourself better, or when you had this realization, was it the U.S.? Was it the U.S.? Were you already in the U.S.? My question is, was the U.S. food system making you sick? Because I find people from other countries and cultures, they have a very robust nutrition, and they're actually very, very healthy. But it's when they come and they migrate here that all the processed food and all the fast food is what really does them in. Was that the same for you?
No, not really for us, because we already had Epiphany before in Europe, and we had built this very specific diet for us that was really basically very little meat, a little bit fish, no grains, no sugar. And that was the diet that many people today are touting as the right diet for humans. And I mean, now what we are seeing this type of diet being used to reverse type 2 diabetes, help people with hypertension, even help people with mental disorders. So it's been really interesting now that this diet that we stumbled upon because of a couple smart doctors helped us, has now been validated to help almost everybody. And I don't, we were like a keto diet at times also, but that's maybe unsustainable for long term, in like decades. But it can be super healing for many people. But your point is interesting in the sense that I have a lot of friends who live in the US, and they go now because of COVID. Many of them went to they went to Tahiti, or they went to southern France or Italy or wherever. And these are people who have been living in the US for their life. And then they go there and they are sort of like, I've been like gluten intolerant and I eat the bread. I went there, I lost 25 pounds. Like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? And then they come back and they eat the same food that looks the same. And then they gain the weight back. So we have a system today that we have created to ourselves that is a very, very problematic. Too much processed foods, we are hiding all this ugly stuff into the food, and a lot of the food we even eat is not really even food. And my family and we have been eating out a lot. You live in one of the best cities in the world, in San Francisco, for food, and we love the food here. But you never really know what is the food you get in a restaurant, for example. Are they using the right type of oils? Are they, putting some stuff into the food that's not great? And, ton of salt, of course, in a lot of the food. Because, what is tasty? You add the butter, you add the cream, you add the medley, and, a little bit of sugar. And, that tastes great, and it's very addictive. And it's been really interesting to work with some of the chefs in the last year to start building the Elos, future products, and really understand that many of these people, they went to school, they became amazing at creating tasty food, beautiful food, but they never thought about health aspect. So it's not, we can't point fingers at them. They never even thought about it. Now some of them are thinking about the health, and what they do, they create beautiful food, tasty food that is healthy. It's possible to do that as well. So I think we're going to see a renaissance in the whole food system in the coming years. And I couldn't be more excited to be able to work on this early new area again. It's been a blessing. I think biggest blessing for my life in the work is that I was there working on the first mobile games before iPhone and Android, and then I was working on AR, augmented reality, early on before it became a thing, and being able to work on the kind of discovery, the access to healthcare for many years, and now being able to work on this new idea of food as medicine. I mean, it's just so fun to be in these early innings of new industries.
Yeah, man, let's go. I'm excited. I'm excited for what you guys are doing. I think you guys are doing disruptive things in the industry. I don't know really anybody else that's doing kind of what you're doing. So let's get into that. But before I do, I thought the name Elo was such a beautiful name. And can you just tell everybody why you chose that name and what it translates to before we kind of get into some deeper questions?
Yeah, I've been in the tech for a long time, and all the good names are taken, all the urls.coms are taken, and it's really hard to find a short name that is memorable. And I've been helping many companies to maybe find a name somewhere else. Like you might know a company called Vuori, the
Yeah,
clothing apparel company, and
yeah.
Vuori means mountain in Finnish. And
Uh,
there's a company called Lumi. It means snow in Finnish. So many brands are now copying these odd names from other languages. And Finnish language is very unique, very small, like a Navajo, like a hidden thing. So Elo, it means, if we pronounce it Elo, it means life in Finnish. And if we pronounce it Ilo, as some people might, it means happiness. So I was thinking, like, what a great, conundrum. You have the happiness and the life. That's a company I want to, it represents the company really well. And I like that. So that's a story, but nobody will really know about it because,
yeah.
but I think ELO is also, of course, it's also the old band that I saw not long ago. So
I love it. I love the name. I love the double entendre, and it speaks so much to your company and what the light that you're bringing. So I think it's great. I'm curious because I was looking at kind of the work that you do and what the great. So correct me if I'm wrong, but what you guys are doing is you're looking at some key biomarkers, and then based on those biomarkers, you are shipping people kind of on a monthly basis. It looks like supplements that are specifically tailored to their needs and their blood work, right?
yeah, that's the beginning. We started. We've been building the company now for a few years, and the first product that we wanted to build is to validate for us and the company, and also work with the early members. Whether we can build a system that we take your blood biomarkers at home. So we have a collection kit that you get into your home. You prick your finger. We do 12 biomarkers. We do the lipid panel, cholesterol, LDL, HDL, triglycerides. We also look at some vitamins, minerals like vitamin D, B12. We are looking at your ferritin, iron. We also look at your homocysteine. And of course, we also look at A1C for your diabetes marker. So like kind of the same panel that your concierge doctor would do for you. But if you go to your doctor today, they would like to do lipid panel, maybe A1C, but they don't
Yeah.
go deeper than that. So the idea was to have a pretty good holistic view of you and test some of these things that maybe never have been tested before. And what did we find out in the first 1,000 or so members when they came in? We found that 90% of people have something in red or yellow. And we spent a lot of time thinking about the yellow because, as everybody knows, I mean, when you go to healthcare system, you're going to be green all the way until you are red, and then you can be medicated. Like you don't,
Or
there's no
or are
warning.
Ari, I mean, better yet, I mean, a lot of people, and the Western model, many people are considered normal. But if
Yeah.
those normal scores, especially for thyroid, if you brought that to a functional medicine doctor, they'd say you're low, you're hypothyroid. But if you go to the Western model, they're like, no, you're fine. And the next thing you know, your next appointment a year from now, you're like, oh my God, you're you're red. We need to put you on some kind of form. So yeah, continue.
Yeah, totally. Like, it's the same as if you would have an aura ring as you have. You basically aura would say, don't worry about it, you're doing well if you slept 4 hours. You're not gonna die. Like, at least immediately. But that's the thing we do in medicine today. And we wanted to build this yellow area that is pretty wide. And we want to give you a warning, like, hey, no worry, don't worry about it. But if you now change things, you can get back to green quickly. And that's what we help. We help you find and fill your nutrient gaps. And 90% of people who are pretty healthy people like me who come in, they are surprised that they have these gaps. And we can help them by, giving them supplements. So we send people daily packets, so monthly box with daily packets that have your name on, and it's kind of cool. And
Yeah.
then you have them up to 7 pills a day. We have an array of almost 100 different active ingredients. We are building that packet for you. The packet will change month to month to month depending, how you progress. So it's like an automatic system. Like think about putting this supplementation that many of us do, that we don't really know if we're doing the right or the wrong thing. You can put it on autopilot. That's what Elo does today quite well. and to make it, I mean, I'm not claiming that, I can give you a supplement pack or pills a day and you're going to be healthy. No, no, not at all. I'm saying that these are helping you to optimize and fill the gaps you have. The key piece, I think, that we have seen amazing outcomes is that every person who signs up to Elo today, they are paired with the dietitian, and they are working face to face every quarter with these people. And that has been given amazing outcomes for many folks because they never have had like a person to talk to and bounce ideas on. And you can also use the Elo app and you can communicate with your dietitian and your coach on a daily basis. And that has been the key factor, I think, for real behavior change. I can nudge you all day long in an app. I can send you pill packs, but if you don't eat them, if you don't take notice, you're not going to change. Like a personal trainer. I think we know how to do the bicep curls. I think we even know how to do, squat. Maybe deadlifts harder, but we know how to do it. But we do it much more if somebody is next to us telling us to do it and doing 5 reps, not 4
Yeah.
reps. So
Yeah.
having a person keeping you accountable is immensely valuable. And we made it affordable by using technology and bringing it in the app and bringing it to you over Zoom. So you don't need to do face-to-face in a room. So that's the early package. Like you get the testing every, once in a while. You get a coach that you can work one-on-one and you can communicate whenever. And then you get 30 daily packets every month to your doorsteps. And this is the beginning, and the outcomes we have seen today have been very, very exciting. I mean, like most people have been able to fix many of the biomarkers that they didn't know they had issues with. And as you fix your vitamin D, vitamin B, your iron, you actually have more energy. You actually feel it. And I can talk about myself. I mean, like I was not really a supplement believer. I've been an athlete all my life on the side of running companies and stuff. And I was performing pretty well, I think. And now I'm 45 soon, and I'm at the best shape of my life, and I don't really compete in the level I did before. But it's because of the nutrition, because of really being holistically optimized from the recovery perspective, nutrition perspective, and the training perspective. I was the typical guy before who was like, I'm gonna go train when it's snowing and raining, and when I'm snotty in my nose. Like I go do it. If I do it, it's in my calendar. I'm not gonna stop. And then some years ago, I hired a coach. It changed my life because somebody told me how to train, and I had no idea. I mean, I was training like they trained in '98 or '95, and 2020 training is very different. So I just improved everything I have done now in the last years, and I have a coach now for climbing and for cycling and for sleep and for my business stuff and myself, and I'm listening to people who are looking me outside in and telling me what to do, and I'm happier, and I'm a better husband, I'm a better father, I'm a better athlete now. So it's been pretty impressive, and that's the idea I want to bring to the Elo members as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. I was curious about the biomarkers. You listed about 12 biomarkers, and I'm just curious, how did you decide? It's really cool because you just do a little prick on the finger. People don't have to, at their home, they don't have to be giving, like, if anybody's wondering, like, do I have to give all this blood? No, you don't. It's just a prick on the finger and that's it, right? But I'm curious, how did you decide on those biomarkers? Is like, this is going to be, I think this is going to give us enough of a snapshot. And I was going to ask you, so how did you decide on it? And do you feel like those biomarkers give you a good enough snapshot or insight into someone's health?
I think you raise a really, really good point. And let me take a step back and talk about the world we are living today a little bit. So there was the world we have been living for a long time is that you go to a doctor office, you go to a lab, and you're taking 5 or 6 vials of blood, and you get maybe a handful of biomarkers back. With that amount of blood, you could test 250 biomarkers easily. But we do few because it's the cost of the benefit of the system. Like as a health, we have decided that we test these things all the time, and these other things we never test. And we don't even really have data on a population level of many things that even we are testing today. Vitamin D, we kind of know, but even like B12, we don't really, homocysteine, we don't have enough people tested that we would really know on a population level. And keep in mind, when people are tested most often, like think about yourself, when you get tested when you're sick. So most of the data we are collecting today is biased on sick people. And that's why
Agreed.
the ranges are so off, because if we test people always when they're sick, of course the range tend to be higher than the optimal range. So those are some of the things that, have been a problem for a long time. And also we had a problem, of course, a company called Theranos, who was,
I remember
they
that company. Yeah.
yeah, there's the documentaries, everything came out, book came out, and they basically took some of these new ideas that were coming up, and they claimed that they are already existing, and then they went wild about it, and basically the whole industry took a step back, and investments, didn't flow in. Investors didn't want to invest in an area where you had this one fraud, people are going to prison type of company. They're not a great place to be. So that slowed down the innovation in the US. In Europe and other parts of the world, it did happen. So there's a lot of innovation happening the last 8 years. And now COVID happened, and none of us could go to the lab. We didn't want to go to the lab and get COVID. So nobody was testing anything. And the at-home testing grew 11 times in the last 2 years. 11 times, 1100%. So massive growth, and it became a real thing. So what happens now is that you have technologies that are proven, but pretty early. So today, if we prick a finger, for example, we can drop maybe 5 to 6 drops of blood easily in 5 minutes to a card. You can send it back to Elo. It's, there's a little bit pain, bit sting, but not that difficult to do. Almost everybody are able to do it first time. We have I think 90+% success rate today on the first time basis, and the second time is easier, of course. So that's good. But then the amount of blood is still limited in a way that we can only test about, maximum 15 biomarkers today. So we had to really pick the right ones. And your question is really good. What should we test? Why did we pick what we do? We picked these ones because these are, like I said, the ones that most of the concierge doctors are and have been doing from the venipuncture when they assess your health. And there's behind every one of the biomarkers we have picked, there's a huge amount of science behind it. And there's also interventions that we know what you can do to improve them. There are many other biomarkers that would be really interesting, but we don't really know exactly what to do. So as an example, we are testing homocysteine for inflammation. If you go to a doctor today, they will likely test CRP, C-reactive protein. And C-reactive protein is telling whether you have inflammation in your body or not, chronic inflammation, for example. It has no ability to pinpoint where it is. It could be a wound healing. It could be, something, sprain. It can be an illness. It could be, a virus. So it can be almost anything, and we don't know. Homocysteine is more pinpointable, that's a word, into your heart. And because if you think about how do we die, and what are the existential problems we have? I mean, diabetes and metabolic issues are huge. Heart issues are really big. Yeah. And heart disease is still the biggest killer we have. So that's why we wanted to really focus on the heart, because many of us are going to die of a heart attack. Can we help you to kind of prevent that by looking at your lipid panel, homocysteine and others? So that's been the case. But I'm super hopeful because I'm also an investor in the space. And I look at a lot of the companies that are now coming in from the science, from the labs and the universities. And we are seeing a huge amount of innovation. So I can say that in the next 4 years, we can move from 12 biomarkers to 200 biomarkers at home collected. So that will change everything, because suddenly we have so much more data that we can actually start understanding population health in a new way. And that's what we are building Elo for, that new world.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think, just looking at the biomarkers you guys did pick, I think those are key. I couldn't agree more. Metabolic health. I just read a new study coming out of 2022, 6.8% of Americans are metabolically healthy. That means the rest, like 93%, are not doing well. And so I think your focus is perfect where it's at right now. And then of course vitamin D levels and some of those other inflammation markers. So that's great. And beyond that, I always look at results, Ari, and you briefly kind of mentioned it, but can you kind of talk about what people can expect when they get onboarded with Elo, and then also kind of like what does a membership look like and what is the cost, and then what are some of the results that people are seeing?
Yeah, thank you. The key point that we wanted to validate for ourselves in the pilot 2 years ago when we did the small 150 people pilot test was that are we able to see people impacting the blood biomarkers? I mean, we knew that it should be possible, but it really never had been done in a way we did it, and the outcomes were very very promising. Like 90% of people were able to have an positive impact on the biomarkers within 180 days.
Wow.
And it's not in a way rocket science that if we know that 75% of us today, you and me and everybody, have a low vitamin D. I'm an example where I don't metabolize sun properly because I have a mutation. I don't metabolize even vitamin D from food normally. So I had to
Oh,
be
wow.
dosed at 10,000 IU, like 8 times the level of normal level for vitamin D to get my levels up. I had been in teens all my life,
Wow.
and I only found it out because we sequenced my DNA. We looked at it. I went to sequence my extended family DNA, and they all had the same mutation. I was able to up our vitamin D level to a normal level for the whole family, and none of us got sick of COVID. So that's kind of the concrete impact
Nice.
for myself. But normally the vitamin levels we are impacting, often, ferritin is very often low for many women. And of course, we have many, people who are vegetarians or vegan who have an issue with, ferritin often, and then B12. But then when we go to cholesterol, think about LDL, HDL, triglycerides. Those are, I mean, I don't think we can really, change your trajectory completely with supplementation, but by the right coaching, maybe introducing intermittent fasting, changing the breakfast pattern, and changing the oils you do, you can have a fairly quick impact on your levels. And then A1C, the diabetes marker, that's a pretty slow moving marker. So in a 1 quarter, you can't have a big impact on it. But we are seeing that people who took more dramatic behavior changes, they are seeing a big impact in 180 days or so. But it's I can't give you motivation, but I can give our members the tools and the arrows in the quiver, what they can tackle these issues and maybe make them more understandable, like 1, 2, 3, not like I need to fix everything at the beginning, which is almost impossible. So we piecemeal things a bit better than you will normally do yourself, and we give you guidance and we ongoing track what happens. So that motivation has been helping people to get the better outcomes. So it's an early inning, and we have more products coming in. So we are now in the process of launching, and you can see it on the website already. We have a smart protein coming. So the smart supplements are live. People are buying them every day. Smart protein is going to be launching everybody in the coming weeks, and that's basically the same as we talked about the supplements. But we took what does this mean for protein? So, and I'm really stoked about this because I'm an athlete, and I believe that having protein as a recovery product really makes an impact for my health, and it actually does. And I can measure the output of my power, wattages on my bike, or the difficulty in my rock climbing and so forth. And I have seen those go up in the right way, so I'm pretty stoked. So what we did with protein is that we take your wearable data. So I have my Ultra Watch, I have my Aura, my Whoop, and my glucose monitor, whatever I have.
I got mine right here, Adi.
Yeah, I have the
Yeah.
Super Sapiens. The levels is the other one.
Yeah. The
So you
NutriSense.
can't take that data today. We don't take the glucose data yet because there's still a lot of questions and challenges because it doesn't flow in with the Apple Health. But anything you can connect to Apple Health, think about like your Strava, your Peloton, your Tonal, your Aura, your Apple Watch, whatever you have, Whoop now. We take that in and we design the right protein powder based on the wearable data from the last 90 days of exercise and workouts.
Wow.
And that's the first time anyone has done that. It's pretty cool. And the only thing you have to do is sign up to Elo, get the Elo app, connect the device you want, and then in 2 days, you get the right product with your name on, designed to you, hand back to you Every product is unique to you when we make them. That's pretty powerful. But then what happens that is even cooler, I think, when you go to a workout, any of these devices, any of these trackers, you track your workout. We tell you after the workout how much protein you need to optimize the amount and the timing. And that's
Wow.
like the athletes are calling us now, like, that's cool. Like, can we sign up right now? Because we wanna time. We don't know what is the right dosing and timing. So that's something that we are adding. And coming year and months, we are adding also sometime in the future meal delivery. Same way.
Oh.
And that's I can't talk about the details yet because they're not all defined, but I'm pretty excited about that, because then you are start having like more of your nutrition coming from one place, from one AI. And yeah, I'm stoked. I mean, it's a really great world to be playing in,
Yeah.
and all the things. No company has ever launched 2 products based on your biomarker data. We have now 2 live. We could probably have like 4 or 5 end of the year next year, and
Wow.
paving the way.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. I think the protein concept that you're talking about, and I know I've talked to Rob Wolf and a lot of other health practitioners, and especially as we age, this, I just turned 40, and one of the biggest things for us, especially as even females actually, is sarcopenia, losing muscle mass, and that's a huge metric of longevity. And most of us, the 0.8 grams per pound of body weight is that's really outdated. And a lot of the experts I'm talking to say you might need to go to probably 1.5, even 2 grams. And so if you can dial that in for some of these high powered athletes, that is going to be really a neat feature. And then of course, I work with a lot of clients too that are doing food delivery services, but like you mentioned in San Francisco, beautiful restaurants, but canola oil they're using. So it'll be really cool to see what you guys come up with, because I know the foods are going to be healthy, but also delicious, because you can make some good meals with good ingredients.
And I love your point about the protein, because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian, I'm just a hobbyist at best. But I've been dabbling in this world for a long time, and I read every day a couple hours and try to be quick study in these topics. And I think today, if we think about women who are over 40, almost all of them get too little protein. And I think the 0.8 is more like 1.0 grams per kilo in your body.
Yeah.
That's probably the right amount of protein. So I read about this not long ago, and I might not remember exactly the details, but the point was anyway that the 0.8 was developed as part of the studies done in Africa for children who had malnutrition. So really, like, we can't really compare a Westerner, a woman who is 45 and maybe going to menopause, to
Yeah.
a 8-year-old kid in Africa who is
Yeah.
starving. That's kind of how we deducted
That's
this number.
exactly. Yeah.
So it's not really correct. And of course, the type of protein, it does matter a lot. We offer both whey and pea. So if you're vegan, you can get the vegan. Everything we do at Elo, you can get the vegan if you want. But sometimes, I mean, the point is that I think the whey is better. I mean, that's what the science is saying, that the whey protein is probably better
For
than the.
building muscle, like, yeah, you're right. It's more anabolic for sure. Yeah. Awesome stuff, man. I was going to ask you, that was one of my questions, any exciting projects that you're working on, but I think you answered it. So the food delivery, the proteins coming out, very neat. Anything else though? Or those are
Yeah, there are some things that we I can't talk about yet, but
okay, good.
like I said, the biomarker testing is in the forefront of my work today. I spend most of my time on making so we can build and deploy the latest and the greatest and the best tech in that area. Because if we can make the biomarker testing truly easy, that is a massive unlock that
Yeah.
will get this to millions of people. Because I don't know anyone who would not like to test the blood biomarkers. Everybody are buying these wearable devices, and they give you very kind of high level proxy of what to do. But if we would have blood testing happening maybe every 6 months, even every quarter, we would have the back data, and we would be much healthier when the doctors would be able to look at the trajectory. It's not about the one value; it is all about the progress and the long-term benefit of tracking things and understanding what is the trend you are going in.
Yeah. I love it. Test, don't guess, right? You're constantly testing and then retesting, and then you can iterate and get better, right? And then you're making it easy, like you said, through automation and just keeping it through that membership platform. It just keeps it very easy and sticky for people to, oh yeah, I forgot. But then the kit arrives and you do the kit, and then you get better. So that's amazing.
I think,
Yeah, go ahead.
you asked about the pricing, and I think, I forgot to say, but we we are really trying to be very aggressive in a way how we are building the system. And um, and as everybody knows, healthcare is one of the only areas where we really haven't yet went to mobile and the cloud and even digital completely. So it's a very expensive system, possibly because we spend 30% of every dollar in healthcare on administration stuff, and that's
Mm,
often because we manually do stuff that is so silly. And we don't do that. We try to be very, very, optimized in a way how we operate. So we were able to put the price down now to $99 a month, including the testing, coaching, and supplements. And that's a pretty good price, I think. Not for everybody yet, because I know it's a lot of money still.
sure.
And what we are doing right now, I don't know exactly when we're going to go out, but we just got the new website live last week, and we are offering a unique promotion where people can get the first test for free. Know
Wow.
before you go. Know before you go, because I mean, in the end, I mean, if you are all green, I'm gonna high five with you, and you can, maybe you can get some supplements that fortify you, but maybe you don't need
Yeah.
us. But 90% of people have something on red and yellow, and for those people, we can help you. So go know before you go, and go elo.health, and get the free test.
I'm going to sign up. I want to do this. This is awesome.
Go do it today.
Yeah. Ari, this is amazing. I want to jump into some lightning round questions with you, but before I do, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wish I had?
Well, I think for me, I mean, I spend my time. I'm an entrepreneur first, and then father and husband. But I also spend a lot of time on looking at investments in this space, and we've been investing for 10 years now in all 50 companies in human performance, and we're living a unique time that we are in the cusp of unlocking many of the things we've been hoping to unlock for a long time. And I think the one area that we didn't talk yet, but is very interesting, is the whole idea of longevity. And I'm not talking about extending our life to 150 yet, but I'm talking about this idea that are we able to use the food as an example and nutrition as a vehicle um, to live healthier and also longer healthy life, because many people today, they get sick when they're 70 or even before, and their life, they can live 30 years, but the life is not great when you can't move, you can't do the things you love the most. So at Elo, we started this in a way that everybody who signs up, they can write down, or we kind of almost mandate them to write down a sentence about the health. And I read these every week. There's
Wow.
dozens and dozens of these things coming daily, and often I'm teary-eyed, because these are the most meaningful things I ever read in my life, almost. Because people are writing like, it's not about I want to look great when I go to the Bali. Uh, it's more like I want to be hiking the Appalachian Trail with my grandchildren when I'm 80 years old. I want to
Yeah.
go heli ski in Alaska with my daughter when I'm 75. And
Yeah.
like and those are just athletic things, but they are very meaningful. We all want to be there for our children. We want to be there for the grandchildren, and we don't want to be wheelchaired into the wedding to dance or walk the aisle. We want to be walking there, and that's what people want. And I mean, that's, I think, what we are trying to do at Elo, is to give people hope about the next 30 or 40 years. We love working with the people who are now investing into the future, because you can't do that when you are sick and you are 65. There's no way of returning easily.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I was just watching a presentation at a recent conference, and sure, people are living. Well, I don't know if they're living longer, but the Western model has been able to carry people longer, but they're actually sicker. So you might think that people are living longer, but like you mentioned, the last 20 years of their life is miserable. And I think you and I are both on a mission of like, I want you to thrive. I want you to be living when you're 150. I want you to be still thriving. And so it's about that legacy, like you said. I think that's what people are craving, right? And your kids, and you want to be around for your kids and their grandkids, and but you want to be, agile and smart and sharp. And so that's the key. Yeah.
Totally. And we used to get, kids when we were 25, and now we get kids when we are 40.
Yeah.
And we know, we are like looking at the calendar, we are like, oh my God, I'm gonna be pretty old when my kids are walking off the door.
Yeah.
So what do I do to, be able to keep up and be there? And it can be done. Anyone can live a very long, healthy life if we make the right decisions.
Yeah. Love that, brother. All right, let's jump into some lightning round questions, and then we'll leave it where people can find you and connect with you and learn more about Elo. I'm curious, what do you think when you look at your life? Like, what are some choices, or maybe a choice that you made that you think made you who you are today?
For me, the biggest single, not a choice, but an event, likely was my parents. In this small northern Finland town, they never spent the time to buy a new car, but they always spent the time to travel. So I was able to go to 50 countries before I was 18 with my parents, and it was the opening for me because if you travel and you see the world, you understand that we are all the same, and you understand that you can't be kind of nationalistic. You need to be a global citizen, and that opened my eyes. And I've been working in many countries. I've been working with many hundreds of people in different nationalities. Run companies in different spaces in the world, and it's been a blessing. I think that made me who I am. And another piece is tech. I mean, I got a computer when I was 6 years old, and I never turned back. I mean, and that became my livelihood. And it was lucky to be one of the early people who did that. But there's always something new happening every day, and just leap in and don't say no. Try.
Yeah, love that. I remember I went to Italy for 3 months when I was in college, and same thing for me. It just completely changed me. I think everybody thinks like America is the greatest, the United States. Yeah, and in many ways, it has a lot of amazing things, and I'm grateful that I grew up here. But I just remember walking away and like, maybe we're not doing certain things right here. Like the Italian, and Switzerland, I went and visit all these countries, and I took away some many beautiful things. And I was like, I want to bring this back to where I go, because they're doing things I think way better than what we have been bred to do here. So I love that. I'm curious, you are such a force in the health and wellness world. You're doing some really innovative stuff. Like, who's someone that inspires you in the health and wellness world, or who's someone that you're following?
I do follow a lot of podcasters who are now pushing the envelope by testing things on themselves, or uh, testing with people that they work with, like Peter Attia is, I mean, somebody that I listen quite a bit. And I mean, David Sinclair is somebody that I think he's really captured the imagination of people in the space of longevity. I think he is maybe leaping into conclusions a bit too early, but I
Yeah.
mean, I love that he's talking about stuff that he even knows that I might be a bit wrong, but he's starting
Yeah.
a conversation. And I'm a massive follower of some of the entrepreneurs in the space, and some of them I can call my friends, so which is pretty amazing nowadays. But one company that I had a chance to invest early, and I really think will be the most impactful company, one of the most impactful companies in healthcare, is called a company called Verda Health. And Sami Inkinen, who's the CEO, founder, I mean, they are reversing type 2 diabetes, and they have done it now for many, many people. And they broke the paradigm where it is a chronic condition that you can't reverse. And they have reversed it now for more than 10,000 people. And to me, that's immensely powerful to go against, not against the system, but to go against the belief of a system and prove them wrong. The whole global healthcare system was proven wrong by what they have done, and that
100%.
takes courage like nothing else.
Yeah. Love that. I'm a big reader. I don't know if you can tell. Any books that are there, like a top 1 to 3 books that had a huge impact on your life, or just that you would recommend other people read?
My mom is a Finnish language teacher, and I have a luxury of having about, I don't know, 10,000 books in my childhood home around the wall. So every wall was covered with books, and I've read a lot. and I don't have like just a few that. But one book what I'm reading now and what I finished. I think it was a really impactful book that I just read called Ministry of the Future.
Hmm.
It's about like a fictional story about what world could look like in 30 years when the climate change has really gone rampant. And my wife is an environmentalist, and she's working in the space of environment. She was involved in the writing the Kyoto Agreement back, or the Paris Accord back in the days, and
Wow.
she was running the Green Party of Finland back in the days. So and that's another kind of foot I'm very deep in ground, is that the health and then the environment. But that book was really scary and eye-opening and very dense. But I mean, I think it's also Obama's one of the book of the year.
Very cool. I love that. Any rituals or hacks or practices that you do on a regular basis? Some people do like gratitude journaling. Like, what do you do? Or is there any health hacks that you do? Sauna? What do you do?
Well, sauna is one go-to that I have. Sauna was invented in Finland. We don't have many things that we have invented. We have sauna and we have Santa Claus. Santa Claus is from Finland, of course, not from North Pole. I mean, everyone
That's
knows
right.
that.
Yeah.
And
Thank you
there's
for
like
clarifying that.
you can go to northern Finland, not far from my home in Finland. That you can go and visit Santa, the real.
That's amazing.
But the hack perspective, I think for me, I got really lucky because in that small town in 80s, I was doing I played hockey and I was doing Nordic skiing, and there was a company called Polar Electro, the heart rate monitor company. They were founded in my hometown, and the founder CEO, he was helping to teach and coach the kids ski team. So he gave us those heart rate monitors when I was like, I don't know, 10 years old, and I was able to monitor my exercise. And of course that became a thing, like, there's something in here. And then later I was able to be involved at Nokia when we invented the step counter. So that was kind of cool. That I wasn't there in the room, but the team came up with the 10,000 steps idea and all this stuff. So that happening early, and then I was able to invest in Aura in early times, and I've been using now this ring for almost 9 years, and I have every night tracked. And I think to me the key hack is going to sleep earlier. Every time you go sleep before 10:45, the morning is amazing. And every time you go I was with my friends in the Oktoberfest over the weekend, and I went to sleep at 3 a.m. I rarely do that, and I'm still feeling it. I mean, it's not Tuesday, so it takes you 5 days to recover from not even like drinking, but just not sleeping properly. But people need to think about more recovery and sleep, because that is the easiest thing you can do to kickstart the positive loop of change.
I love that. Couldn't agree more. I mean, I'm wearing a glucose tracker CGM right now, and my glucose was high this morning, and I didn't sleep great. And I've noticed that with my sleep. And people, when we talk about metabolic health, they never think about sleep, and I think it's something they need to focus on. So that's great. Last but not least, Ari Tulla from Elo. Tell everybody where they can connect with you, learn more about you, and find you guys.
You can find Elo at elo.health. elo.health is the website. And as I said, if you want, you can sign up free with the blood test until we stop doing that. I don't know exactly when. And then you can find us also on elo.health on Instagram and every other social channel you can find. And you can find me and follow me. I don't very actively write with my name, but Ari Tulla, I'm the only one with that name. So I think the first 50 pages of Google is me if you Google my name.
Nice. Ari, thanks for being on the show, brother. Appreciate you so much.
Hey, thank you so much. It was great.